the next block.
Well, it was must-see TV last night. Bret Baier pressed Vice President Kamala Harris on everything from the border to the economy to Joe's mental fitness during her first formal sit-down interview with Fox News as vice president.
And with less than 3 weeks to the election day, the Democratic nominee trying to make the case that she offers a new way forward despite being in power the last 3.5 years.
If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
What about?
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
So it was a tense interview at times as Harris tried to dodge some questions and point the blame toward Donald Trump. Toward the end of the interview, though, Bret says it had to quickly be wrapped up after her team signaled to him to stop.
There are critics who look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things.
There's more to say. I have
There
much more to
are a
say.
lot, Madam Vice President.
And
they're giving me a hard rap.
Well, I thank you for the time.
Jeez.
So let me set the temperature here. If you're a pro Kamala person watching this, I need you to understand something. Donald Trump called Bret Baier. He said Bret Baier was aggressive with him too.
Fair.
So let's set the tone, and we've established that Bret Baier kept that same energy. Baier. Look, you're doing the same thing that they doing on CNN when they can't say Kamala Harris's name right. The point I'm trying to make is he kept that same energy with both of them. He didn't show favoritism for either one. He put both of them under the fire. So let's just start off with that. But you got it first.
All right. Okay, first of all, Baier is only said one way. You're Baier, B-I-A.
Baier, the ninja on Fox News. How about that? Let's just the ninja on Fox News.
Kamala, Scamala, Kamala, Chameleon. Yeah, she has there's a bunch of ways to say that. Okay, so the Kamala campaign, they sunk her campaign. They sunk it because this wasn't a good interview by any means. Like, I don't care how they try to spin it, how they try to like say this was like a good thing, and she was definitely cooking on there. People that weren't paying attention or people that didn't watch the whole interview are the ones saying that, and those are probably the ones that don't really vote either too. So unfortunately for Kamala, she had a perfect opportunity, and I was actually thinking about this too. So again, I think Bret did a good job of just really doing his job. And he also pressed her on just like do you want to explain anything? Like, especially she says she's a candidate of change, but she's not changing anything. That's why I don't understand, because that's the easiest thing to kind of explain and try to like have a discussion on. She actually, if Kamala, I'll tell you how Kamala how she can win this campaign real quick. She needs to throw Biden under the bus. And I know it's gonna look really bad. It's gonna look very poor. But if she says there's nothing, she's on record multiple times, say she wouldn't do anything different, then why are they voting for you? Because people did not like these last 4 years. Why would they even consider voting for you? And you barely have any policies that are different from Biden. If anything, they're just like, just part two of what he was already doing. And if you think that if you didn't like Biden, what makes you think you're gonna like Kamala? Like, I don't understand why her campaign staff hasn't came out and said, like, you know what, instead of saying you wouldn't change anything, just say, like, you know what, I'm gonna take a different approach on this issue. Like, just do something different, say something different. But they refuse to, acknowledge that they messed up. And whoever advising Kamala, they're gonna get fired.
Look, I said from the jump that my two biggest concerns with her, I wanted to see how she did with somebody who pressed her and put a little bit of heat under her and who disagrees with her. She didn't respond well to that.
Yeah.
And like you said she needs to throw Biden under the bus. I just said she needs to differentiate what she will do that Biden different from what Biden is doing now. She did not address that. Right. As a matter of fact, that entire interview, she spent the time talking about how incompetent Donald Trump was. And it's not working. Like the fear stuff's not working no more. You're gonna have to meet people where they are. Tell me, what are you doing? Okay, if the border was not your failure, tell me why it wasn't your failure. This is the type of stuff we really need to know.
Yeah.
She's running her campaign on abortion.
Yeah, ghost babies. Yeah.
That's what she's running her campaign on. And that's only going to ignite the women. Like, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
So again, here's my question to the pro Kamala folks. Are we equal or not? Because all I hear from y'all is Baier was being a bully, but I just proved to you that he gave Donald Trump the same energy. So what's the problem here? Are we equal or not? Because if we're equal, she's gonna get the same smoke, and she deserves the same smoke as Trump. If we're not equal, and we need to protect her as a woman, which it sounds like they were doing in that interview when they ended it early, she should not be running for president. Period.
Yeah.
Now, and here's the other piece of this. You're sitting with somebody who at least has some respect for you. Go have a conversation with Vladimir Putin or the Ayatollah in Iran or Kim Jong-il or somebody like that who has no respect for the United States and who has no respect for you as a woman. You think that was bad? It's gonna be much worse when you're trying to negotiate stuff with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was thinking about something else too. If Kamala had came out and said, or if part of the reason Kamala just had these last 2 weeks have been terrible for her, like this interview didn't help. And then the additional attacks against Black men did not help either. If she had just came out, and the crazy thing, it wasn't Kamala just coming out there and saying that, hey, Black men this, Black men that. The one thing she's been saying that she's consistent on, well, she said into this other interview, she didn't throw Black men under the bus, but she didn't defend Black men that the Black men were not voting for her because of misogyny reasons. Because she was asked by a reporter, like, do you believe the hype that Black men are not voting you because of misogyny? And she said, people are going to vote however they want to vote. But I was like, they're not. Misogyny has nothing to do with any of this stuff. Like, not even close. But if Kamala had come out here and said, hey, for the Black men out there, that I hear you crap. If she had just humbled herself and said, like, look, I need your votes. I can't win without you. And I don't want her to be humble. I want her to be aggressive. I want her to call us out. All right, you Black men over here, y'all said y'all not voting for me. Let's sit down and have a conversation and let's figure this thing out. I would respect that much more. You said what? That would maybe for another candidate, but I don't think it's going to work with her though, because she comes off unlikable. Just she hasn't explained the whole Jamal Truelove thing. Like,
nor will she.
Yeah, and no one wants to bring that up. She hasn't explained. I forget the woman that she locked up temporarily for whose
child was having seizures.
Yeah,
and that was why her child wasn't going to school. Yeah.
So she hasn't done a good job. She's been pretty aggressive. I haven't seen her be very feminine.
And you got to remember, I want not to cut you off, but since we're bringing up concerns, San Francisco was sued and lost because the Attorney General's office was found being corrupt. And so was the San Francisco Police Department. That was where she started. And that was during her time as the Attorney General.
Yeah.
Like, people aren't talking about this stuff.
Yeah. And I think honestly, I think a lot of people kind of understand where Kamala is at though, because whenever they put out anything, they're very quick about, pointing out some of the shortcomings, just like they do with Trump as well too.
Yeah.
But I think if she take the road of humbling herself and just saying she needs Black men, because I think there's going to be a decrease in Black men voting for her. But to me, for the Black community to turn the page, so to speak, it needs to be like a reduction in the Black vote, like on men and women, because she's not good for men and she's not good for women, because what she's actually doing is very divisive, because she is pitting Black men against. I saw an ad come out. Oh man, if I had time, I'll find the ad. But she had an ad that basically said, if you don't vote for me, women are not going to vote or not going to date you or anything like that. And just a quick just thing in my life, I see like a lot of women that say, hey, if you're a Trump supporter and this again dating apps, But if you're a Trump supporter, swipe left or whatever. And for me, I don't ever put like, you know, all that politics and religion. I don't put all that stuff on there because I don't think it's important for them to like, you know, understand all that stuff. Though I'm just trying to clap cheeks. So you don't need to know my religion or any of that stuff. I'm just, you know, there to, you know, like, you know, see if you can watch the kids or anything. Like that's really what it is. But at the end of the day, for her to even put anything, for her to even think this was a good idea to have this conversation that for the men, if you don't vote, we're going to turn the women against you is 1000% divisive. And it just shows the true plan for the Democratic Party, though, because men can be, she's basically saying men are controlled by, you know, women or by, you know, vagina. And so if she doesn't, if men don't get in line, there's going to be some, you know, there's going to be like a pussy strike or something. Excuse my French.
Man, I'm trying to think of that movie. Oh man, Nick Cannon was in it. It's based off a Greek play where all the women went on sexual strike in order to force political change in men. I'm trying to remember the name of that movie, but I forgot what it was.
Oh, Othello, is it? Was he Othello?
It might be. Man, I'm trying to remember, but look, going back to Kamala really quick. All they're doing it with her is sign language. That's really all it is.
Yeah, shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right.
Like they're not giving me a reason, or most people that aren't given a reason outside of abortion to vote for her. And hey, put a woman in the office and girls will change the world and all this other stuff. Okay, how? Tell me how.
Right. Because
we kind of went through the summary of her plan for Black men last week, and I think me and you were pretty confident in saying that it was put together at the last minute, and clearly there were no Black men involved in it at all. And if they were, then they failed. Chirac was the name of the movie, but I'm trying to remember the play that it was based off of. But Kamala's followers have done nothing but pre-blaming you sign language since the beginning of this thing. They started blaming us months ago before, and this election still hasn't happened. Then it was the insults. You guys don't want to vote for her because you can never get a woman like her. Like I cannot tell you how many times I've seen this on different pages in social media, and it's old and it's played out. They don't respect your intelligence. You're going to have to come with something more tangible. And I don't trust her to sit with enemies of the United States and command the respect and get the results that are needed. Look, I have concerns with Trump too, but here's one big difference between him and her. When Trump is talking, I can look at the people around him and I can tell who's in charge.
Yes.
When she's talking, or even when Joe Biden is talking, I don't know where these orders and commands are coming from, because I don't think Joe Biden is incompetent. Well, I think he is incompetent. Sorry. So he's not calling any shots. Somebody is telling him to do the stuff that he's doing.
Right.
And I can only assume the same thing about her because she hasn't identified one positive thing that she's done. And they're going to keep making excuses for her that she's the vice president. Like she didn't have the record number of tie-breaking votes.
Found it. Hey, I know you haven't seen this, but you're in for a treat. Let me see. She actually had multiple commercials.
They showing one down here right now, and they're using Charlemagne and DJ Envy in the Trump commercial because they got them on tape saying that they don't want taxpayer dollars to pay for gender reassignments.
Yeah, Charlemagne just actually sent a cease and desist to not use his likeness in the video.
I figured he would. Yeah, because he's supposed to be friends with her.
Yeah, here, let me share this so we can watch it real quick. This will be a treat for the audience. All right.
Hello, ladies. I'm Trey. It's good to be here.
What do you do and how much do you
Work in finance, making six figures.
How tall are you?
6'5".
Do you have a plan to vote in November?
Nah, not my thing.
My God. Now, I will say every man should be voting, but just to throw the balloon pop in there, like, this man is 6'5". Like, obviously, they've never seen this. They've never seen a balloon pop, but 6'5", and the guy made six figures, which I know it's all the script and everything, though. But it's like, nope. If you don't vote, yeah, I'm out of here. Let me find out. Let me see if I can find that other video too. But yeah, this one was a little more pointed towards black men, but she's out of control.
Yeah, she definitely is.
Jeez.
To her credit, I'm gonna give her a little bit of credit.
Who? Who?
Madam VP.
Oh, man. Hold on. Can you hear this?
Just a little bit.
Man.
Look, she has wisely stayed out of the what is your race conversation. She has never insulted anyone, but what she's doing is she's using her flunkies to do it. She's not actually the one
her
doing
surrogates. Yeah, they're torpedoing her campaign. Yes, I agree with you on that one.
As far as I'm concerned, the campaign was torpedoed from the jump because all of a sudden she got popular. Remember when she was running for president, she was one of the bottom people from the Democratic Party. She called Joe Biden racist. And that's another thing. Stop calling people racist if you're going to just turn around and just work and report to them later. If you call somebody racist, that means I'm permanently severing ties with you.
Yeah,
that's not a word to play around with.
Yeah, and they're at that point where they're going to lose. This is the thing. I think there's going to be a big showing of black men not showing up to vote for Kamala. But if that happens, because they've been losing the black men vote or black vote in general, but black men more sharply. If that happens, the Democrats will never win an election ever again because black men know that the Democrats are just full of shit. They're BS. They don't care about black men. They're just more about pushing where they're fighting for reproductive rights, which are not under threat. I don't care what anybody says. Reproductive rights are not under threat. And Kamala cannot do anything about reproductive rights because people don't understand civics, apparently. She doesn't have the House or this. There's no way she's going to get the House and the Senate. Even if they had a majority in the House and the Senate, they would never agree on it. And even let's say that did happen, it would be it'd get tied up in the Supreme Court would throw it out. They overturn it.
Yeah.
So there's no way they would even get close to even getting reproduction or making abortion like the law of the land or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, like Kamala, they messed up. They overstepped, and blaming black men was a way bridge too far for them. And then they had their surrogates come out there and start and continue to blame Sunny Hostin, for example, like we said at the beginning. She came out there and said what she wanted to say, and that should be a way bigger news. She should have came out and apologized to the public out there for even putting like her lips together to say such slanderous and blasphemous things about black men. And I know some people were like, well, she just said crazy and reckless. No one else. She didn't say that about any other men, any other.
Oh, yeah. She spoke real calmly when she talked about white men and Latino and Cuban men. But with us, that's when the insults started flying. But again, I don't know why you and I'm talking to all you Dems that are listening. Why do you insist on insulting your second most loyal political group?
Yes.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Oops, sorry. It's unfortunate, and it's unfortunate in the sense that, this is, and I'll close with this. What this reminds me of? This whole thing with Trump and Kamala and Biden. It reminds me of Star Wars, where Trump is the first Star Wars, or actually Star Wars episode, whatever that was, episode 4. Yeah, episode 4. And then Trump loses, which is The Empire Strikes Back. And then Trump is expected to win 2024, which is Return of the Jedi. And I know Star Wars is super woke and everything, and Mark Hamill is super woke. But that's what it kind of reminds me of, because I would have never woken up. I would have never been, I probably was still with the Democratic plantation had it not been for, Trump losing and seeing how terrible the Democrats were, though, because prior to that, I was still repping like Obama was the best thing since sliced bread. And Obama was terrible for the black community. Obama didn't do anything he had some good things that he did do when it came to immigration. And then he did something else. I know, but the immigration is the one I take the most from Obama. But I'm sorry, I'm missing the most obvious one: Medicare, the medical insurance for everybody. So yes, those are the two best things I believe that he did for everybody. But again, Obama had his ulterior motives, and he went out to the Rainbow Committee and made sure he made or he did quality of life changes for those folks, for that community, and that set the stage for how the Democratic Party was going to be operating for the next 3 presidential terms. And so this is the thing, like, you got to be a president for everybody, not for these specialty groups, because that Obama is a great example of when you do identity politics. I believe he didn't do really anything for Black people, even though he said people believed that he was going to do. And then also when it came to like Biden and Kamala, thinking that, hey, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys, these are the folks that are making it difficult or going to lead you to World War III.
So, a couple things. Number one, I've never seen a Star Wars movie, so I'm gonna just take your word for all of that.
Man, you shouldn't have said that out loud.
However, while you were talking about Star Wars, Gina Carano popped up in my head for a reason. So I did a quick search on her, and I saw it seems as if she won her first case against Disney and is going to trial for dismissing her. Was it for Star Wars or Mandalorian or whatever it was?
Yeah, Mandalorian. And if Disney's smart, they'll settle it out of the court, because that discovery is going to sink them.
Yeah, further proof that Disney is leaning left and they're trying to get everybody else out there who disagrees. But yeah, so look, this is a clusterfuck. I don't know why the Dems don't see it.
Real quick, you can have the last word on this too.
Look, I'm so frustrated with the Dems. I was a hardcore Dem until 2010. And I really look back and I ask myself, I think Byron Donald says this all the time. Was your life better when he was in office or when Joe Biden is in office? And I'm in essence, I'm calling Kamala Joe Biden because she has not separated herself from him.
Facts.
So I'll just leave it there. You know what Trump was doing before COVID. COVID messed everything up. A lot of people were confused, including Dr. Fauci, about how to deal with COVID. A lot of states were confused.
I think he lied, but go ahead.
Yeah, look, there's that argument to be made too. What are we dealing with now? Expensive ass groceries, expensive ass gas. World War III. We're on the brink of World War III. And we have Iran, who's probably one of our biggest enemies, who has confirmed to try to assassinate Trump twice. Take all of that, and I'll have you form your own thoughts on that. And I'll leave it there.
Great. Well, that wraps it up for everything, or wraps it up for everybody. Wraps up for us. There we go. I'll edit that.
No doubt.
So yeah, tune in next week. We plan on, again, we continue doing this. Thank you for the new supporters that have just signed up. We're continuing to grow, and we're gonna keep putting out content.
Peace.
See ya.